Right, I'm here with my guy Frank after that very disappointing 2-1 defeat to Fulham. And normally Frank is very good at dissecting games, so I'm very interested to hear what he's going to have to say about this performance. Frank, over to you, bro.
I think the word disappointing is a little bit of an understatement. I would go as far to say that was awful, and I would go as even further to say arguably one of the worst performances I've seen under Mikel Arteta. I think
That's strong.
And I think I'm justified in saying that. Obviously, we got the goal in the first 5 minutes, and from 5th minute to the 90th minute, at no point did I see anything of note from Arsenal Football Club today. It was embarrassing. That's the only way I can put it. And
So
it's not a great way.
No, you're not wrong.
No,
you're not wrong.
course,
But what I wanted to say to you is,
Go
and
on.
I've asked a few of the other guys this, and no one really has been able to come up with anything justifiable. But why though? Because we started so well. I mean, we come into this game, we needed a win. It was off the back of the very disappointing loss to West Ham. So all of us are thinking there's going to be a bit of backlash. And indeed, the first 5 minutes, we started well, we got the goal. So we're thinking, yeah, man, we're on the right track.
Absolutely.
Just seemed to fall away after that. What do you put that down to?
Absolutely. Do you know what it is? I thought the West Ham situation was a one-off. It's clearly not. I think what's happened is we've been found out. This tactical system has been found out. I think we're way too predictable. I think teams are clocking onto it now, and it's going to be a problem if we continue to use this system going forward because, it's the same thing every single time. You want to put play down the wings. They want to get the early cross in, whip back post. Everyone has clocked onto it. And you've seen in the last potentially 4 or 5 games now that is not working. So in order to, I know I'm not a football manager myself, so I don't know how easy it is to do this or whatever. But he's a highly paid manager. He's arguably one of the best managers in the world at the moment. He needs to work this out. That is his job. That's what he gets paid for. He needs to work out something different. Again, he didn't need to change it in the first place. There's been a lot of criticism about the fact that we changed from the system that we used last season to the system that we use this season. I understand it in a way, not starting with that system, because I think what you saw last season is obviously we started fantastically. High intensity, we looked fantastic. But then what happened was towards the second half of the season, we burnt out a lot more. And that's what ultimately led to us not winning the league when we probably should have from the position that we were. So I think he needs to change it up now. Changes need to be made, and they need to be made as soon as possible, because this is not acceptable to be playing like this and losing 2 in a row, and 2 games that we 110% should be winning as well.
No, I hear you. You say change it up.
Yeah.
Are you talking merely positional tactical play, or are you talking about players as well?
I'm talking about players as well. There's some really harsh conversations that need to be had. Tactically, we need to go back to something, even if it's not the exact same, but something similar to what we saw last season. And we need to look at the personnel as well. I said it last week to Cecil in my interview after the game. The attacking 4, which I mentioned, were Jesus, Martinelli, Saka and Ødegaard in there as the attacking midfielder, nowhere near where they need to be, or the levels that they've shown us already. Obviously, people will give Bukayo Saka praise for the amount of goals he's already contributed so far this season. And I'll give him that, but over these last few games, nowhere near it. And he's aiming to be our star player. So we need to see. Obviously, don't get me wrong, fantastic that he scored today. But if anyone, I'm giving more credit to Gabriel Martinelli for putting the ball into that position. I could have scored that from Bukayo Saka. And I'm not trying to be too critical, because I'm happy, of course, that he scored the goal. It's a nice way to try and, counter some of the criticism he's been getting. But after that goal, nothing. Like I said, very predictable. I think every single team is kind of clocking onto how to handle Bukayo Saka. Get him with the double up. They know what he's going to do every single time. He's going to cut inside, going to go for the shot. And even that's not working at the moment. He's getting the opportunities and he's just not putting them away. It's not good enough.
Yeah, because he did have a very good chance in the second half. It wasn't an easy chance,
it wasn't
but
easy.
It's one that he should have done better with.
We've
a
seen
player of his quality.
We've seen him score harder chances, and that's what's frustrating me. The fact that he's getting almost chances on a plate and he's not able to finish them. It's just not good enough.
And the 2 goals we conceded, the first one, I think it was Saka that got dispossessed in the middle of the park. The ball went wide. Got to credit Fulham on that first goal. It was a very good goal, but one that we could have defended better, do you think?
100%. And there's a few things to dissect in that. Obviously, is Bukayo Saka, like I said, not the same Bukayo Saka we've been used to seeing over the last 2 seasons or so. Gets dispossessed way too easy for me. Then what happens is Ben White's already out of position. So that doesn't help either, which means Saliba has to then go and cover for Ben White because he's so far out of position. Then that leaves, a space for Tom Kearney to run into. And then the back post cross, I think I didn't say it at the time because I wanted to look back at it, and after seeing the goal, I reckon that Kiwior can do a whole lot better there. So, you know, it's an easy goal for them. And then that second one, exact same situation as last week. Not even last week, a couple of days ago. Exact same situation as against West Ham. Gabriel kicking it into his own teammate. They scored directly from that. Gabriel as well. You know, I love the guy, but that's 2 in a row now. It's not a lack of luck. It's not a lack of luck. It's, you know, it's silly defending game after game at this point.
Yeah, I've got to say, it's very hard to disagree with you on that. Can you take any positives from today or from what we've seen over the previous 6 months or so that suggests that maybe the players just need a little bit of a break and then, like you said, a couple of switches tactically, bring in a few players and then it's all good? Or have you got deep concerns?
Ultimately, you know, I can't take too many positives from not just this game, but the last 2 games, you know. All that matters is we get the points. We've got 0 points from our last 2 games. And when you're challenging for a title and playing against teams like, I don't want to disrespect them too much because, of course, they're still Premier League clubs. But Arsenal Football Club should be beating a West Ham. Arsenal Football Club should be beating a Fulham. Regardless of whether it's home or away, we should be picking up 6 from 6 out of those 2 games. And we haven't done that. So that needs to be addressed immediately. I know we've got, 20 odd days to our next Premier League game. We've got some time. Obviously, we've got the fixtures to think about against Liverpool in the FA Cup as well, which I expect us to field a very, very strong side in. You know, we're already out of the Carabao Cup. I know people said it wasn't too important. I would have liked to have seen us win it. It's a trophy at the end of the day. So now the only options that we've got for, you know, a cup competition are the FA Cup and the Champions League. We're more likely to win the FA Cup. Let's take that seriously. We've got that game against Liverpool. It's not going to be an easy game, regardless of whether it's home or away again. It's Liverpool. They're at the top of the table for a reason. And we go from there. But January is, 6 hours away?
Yeah, that's the elephant. That's the elephant in the
room.
Listen, I pretty much know what you're going to say. We all know we need a striker.
Yeah.
And that is an area that
100%. Definitely
over these last 2 games, it would appear that needs to be prioritised. Give me a couple of names. One of them is kind of obvious, what you're going to say, Ivan Toney.
Yep.
And I say that because me and you have spoken before about it. The chances are we're not going to get him. Is there anyone else out there that you feel could come in and do a job for Arsenal?
Absolutely. There's plenty out there that can come and do a job. It's more a case of, you know, in January, that's going to be the issue. I don't think there's many teams. The 4 or the 3 that I would say are Victor Osimhen, Ivan Toney, Ollie Watkins. I think it's going to be a struggle to get either of those 3 from their clubs, especially, you know, Villa are doing fantastically, so I don't see Ollie Watkins going anywhere. Ivan Toney, Brentford are going to need him. They're not in the greatest of spots right now, but maybe there's a little bit more leverage there. If we take their striker, maybe, I don't know, you're not going to like this, add Eddie as part of some sort of exchange deal plus cash or something, so they've got that option. Victor Osimhen, I just think he's going to cost way too much in the January transfer window. But now that it's been mentioned, you know, I wasn't a massive fan of the rumours, but if we need a striker, which we clearly do, we might have to look down the route of Dominic Solanke. You know, I think he's still an improvement on Eddie. I don't quite know if he's an improvement on Jesus, but 12 Premier League goals already this season. It's a viable option.